We both want to get married, and our families and friends are cool and everything. Honestly, he's my mom's favorite child at this point. But he says I should have to do the actual proposal, and I say he should. He thinks since I hate every restaurant he takes me to. I work in food service, I know what I'm about. He picks bad places. I should just be in charge of it, I think, since he makes way more and he's stupid picky about jewelry. He knows what the different gemstone cuts are. He has opinions on gemstone cuts. I am marrying a monster. He should have to buy the ring, and we both need it to be a special romantic surprise enough that we're not about to co-propose or some crap. We're also both guys, so there's not really any traditional rules to fall back on here either. It's been mostly fine, but his 30th birthday was the week before last, and he's legit mad I didn't propose then. We took a whole trip and had dinner with his entire family. We live a 2.5-hour flight away. And crap! So if I were going to do it, that would have been the time. I told him I've already said I wasn't proposing, and that he can do it himself, or we can be boyfriends for his 70th birthday too. And he said, if we're not married by the time I'm 70, you will be lucky to still be boyfriends. And stormed off to our room, and now he says he's fine, but I'm 90% sure he's been training the cat to bite my hands. It's happened every single time I try to pet her, and he looks very smug about it. So did I screw up here or what? If I'm not the asshole, how do I talk him into proposing? Already I am dying over here. I want to marry him so bad. He bribed the cat to bite me. I need this man to be my husband. Now, top comment somebody said, is a traditional proposal all that important to you both? Maybe have that discussion, and you could both sit down and talk about what a non-traditional mutual engagement would look like for both of you. Picking out rings together, picking a spot you both enjoy to exchange them, etc. Someone said, geez, Louise, just put on your big boy pants and propose already. You say you want to marry him, so do it already. And on the topic of jewelry, may I suggest doing what my now husband did, which was to propose with a sketch of the custom-made ring you've commissioned from a local jeweler. A commenter, taking someone you intend to propose to ring shopping is something a lot of people do, since it's such an important piece of jewelry. At least to get a couple options, get his help picking out the ring, then make the surprise when and how you propose. Or go ring shopping after the proposal itself. Update. What's up? It's the proposal guy. You said you wanted to know how this turned out, so I figured I'd tell you. First, some context though, because I'm mean and I want to keep you in suspense longer. 1, I don't want to dox us, so I'm not telling you where we live, but suffice to say, neither of us are American. And gay marriage has been legal here for less than 5 years. For both of us, this is the first relationship we've had where marriage was even an option. And I think that's where we've been getting some of that whole, this has to be a real proposal with everything idea. 2, I gotta figure out how to explain this properly. So I'm pretty used to being the guy in relationships. I was always the one who did the nice gestures, not the one they got done for. Before I met my dream guy, I didn't really notice or care that it was such a thing. I just assumed that's how crap worked. Also, I promised I wouldn't talk a lot about his stuff here, but his last boyfriend before me sucked. Anyway, the point here is, it turns out, we both really like feeling swept off our feet sometimes. And a big part of finding each other has been getting to feel special for once. That's a stupid, sappy way of putting it. The point here is I think all that's what morphed into, I need to be the one getting proposed to. Also, it has to be completely perfect. And then our petty and extra genes got involved. So I'm sitting in bed thinking about all that up there and watching all the comments coming in, basically being like, dude, you are blowing this on repeat and telling me to compromise. And I look up and see him flossing in the bathroom and making all these doofy faces at the mirror. And it's like a switch just flips in my brain, and I'm like, oh, I'd rather he gets to have his perfect proposal than we both have an okay one. I'm gonna do it. Morning rolls around, and while I'm out for my jog like normal, I hit up a pawn shop for a temp ring. The ring pop thing is cute, but not him. I found one I was at least confident wouldn't get ruined the first time he got his hands greasy. He fixes old machines as a hobby, it's hot as hell. Got back home, and hid the box in the toe of my nasty-ass workout shoes in the bedroom closet. Since I figured he'd check there last. He was still asleep because he stays up late no matter what, and then is shocked. He's tired the next day, so I called and booked a table at our usual anniversary spot. Side note about the he picks bad restaurants thing. This isn't an I like Greek, you like Chinese situation. Dude's just bad at finding places. He either assumes pricey is tasty and I get to eat some overrated gourmet crap, or he'll try and find something hip and underground and risk giving us food poisoning again. And he refuses to give up and pick somewhere we've been before when it's his turn to plan date night. I'm obsessed with him. Date was set, I'd propose on the 21st. Some of you might have noticed this, but it's a fun fact. It's currently the 16th. Last night I'm doing dishes and he's been sent to our room for mug collection duty, and he's taking forever. So I go check just in case he found the ring, because the man's a gift-tracking bloodhound. Turns out he hasn't. He's found my angry box. I assume other people have an angry box? Basically, we had this huge messy fight right when we first moved in together, and I never want to let it get that bad again, so I have this shoe box where I keep a bunch of our stuff I can look at if we're fighting, and hopefully cool off. There's one of those photo booth roll things. Letters we wrote when he moved back with his parents for COVID. The wine cork from our first date. Damn like that. Anyway, he's just sitting on the floor staring at it, and I explain about the angry box, and then he proposes. Kind of. He definitely didn't have anything prepared, because by propose, I mean ugly cried and rambled at me for several minutes before I figured out it was a proposal, but once I got on the same page, it was amazing. I said yes, and he had to admit he didn't have a ring for me because he was convinced he'd win, and I'd do it. So I grabbed mine because, yeah, he was right. He was like, "This is the ugliest ring I've ever seen." And I was like, "Yeah, well, the plan is to replace it later." And he went, "No, you can pry this off my cold, dead fingers after I'm buried with it." So I guess it's not a temporary ring anymore. I'm just going to go ahead and skip to this morning. I pointed out we still have the reservation, and he said I should propose there anyway because we can get a free dessert. They have those creme brulee shot glasses you like. And for love or something? And I said, okay, deal. But that means you got to get me a ring to keep it fair. And his eyes lit up. When I swung by his work for lunch, he was still on the phone with a jeweler, and he had a whole page of notes on 3 other ones. Pray for me. I was right that he'd been the one behind the cat biting me. But it wasn't about the proposal stuff. It's because I paid my baby sister $3 to shout, "Damn you," every single time he enters a room she's in for. If you ask me, he should be madder at my sister for charging so little. And he did it by giving her a bunch of treats for biting his hands too. So now neither of us can pet our baby girl without oven mitts on. Holy hell, I love this man. Top comment, somebody said, "I'm so glad this worked out so well. It sounds like you really love each other, and I hope you have a great time planning your wedding." Also, the angry box thing is really cute. What a great way to remind yourself how much you love someone. Someone said, "These two guys need to be a movie." A romantic comedy aimed at guys like that one movie that just came out a few years ago that I have forgotten the name of. Update. I am not the butthole. And I think this whole thing is stupid. But I was promised that if I sent my side of things to this blog, I could pick the hotel for our honeymoon. And I am marrying a man who once tried to take me backpacking of all things, so this ask has become a necessity. In light of that, I got engaged in June, apparently in part because of my partner writing into this blog. I don't know how to find or link to his post, but I'm the man who got the cat to bite him, if that rings any bells. At any rate, for the past 10 weeks, I've been in the beginning stages of planning our wedding with my fiancé, whom I have been secretly attempting to remove from the planning process as much as possible. I have already been given a list of his must-haves, and I am incorporating as many of them as our budget allows. This has nothing to do with the emotional side of the event, and everything to do with the fact that this is an idiot with no real planning experience or taste who thinks he knows more than me. For the most part, this has worked very well. I'm the one who's been collating all the contact information for things, so I just replaced all the emails for the tacky companies with false addresses, responded to his inquiries, asked the companies to say the date was already booked or the price was outside our budget, and let him filter his way to the ones I do like on his own. I also made a fuss about being willing to compromise. On the few things he's picked I'm completely fine with, in the hopes I can use it to make him compromise later, and have been humming portions of the songs I want on the playlist in the hopes he'll think he came up with the idea to include them himself. None of this is the real problem. The problem is that he is deliberately ruining my seating chart by moving our horrible friend's seat when I'm not looking. The man in question dated both of us at one point in our very early 20s. Both ended badly. is generally the messiest person we know and will almost certainly get sloppy drunk and try to make a speech if he does make an appearance. I'm banking on the fact that he won't, because he's also ridiculously wealthy and will almost certainly send us some very lavish gift in lieu of coming. He is supposed to be sitting beside my fiance's aunt, at the same table as his grandmother, his work friend, and her girlfriend, because all four of these women are stone-cold terrors who I believe are more than capable of keeping him in line on the slim chance he does come. My fiance insists they won't be able to have any fun if they're running interference all night and keeps moving him to sit at the head table instead. You know, where we are, I finally caught him switching the label magnets on my planning board last night and confronted him. I tried leveraging how much I've been compromising already, that he's almost certainly going to RSVP no, and that I shouldn't have to deal with him on our big night. My fiancé said he knew about all the fake emailing and such and told me, and I quote, "Look, the mind game crap was hot when it was just about the color scheme or whatever, but I actually care about this. So you can suffer with everybody else, or you can do the normal thing and not invite a guy you hate to our wedding, you weirdo." I said that if I did that, it would take out half his groomsmen. He called me an asshole and said I should go explain this to literally any rational adult so they could tell me I was in the wrong, and now here we are. Would you recommend calling my fiance's bluff since he doesn't want the man sitting near us either? Or should I focus on ensuring he'll turn down the invitation no matter what, so the matter of where he won't be sitting can be a moot point? Original poster response from Sideblog. Well, that's definitive. In all honesty, I'd forgotten about this by now, but I'm sure you'll all be very happy to know my fiance actually checks Tumblr and is being completely insufferable about the fact that 700-odd strangers think that I'm an asshole. I will concede. The risk-to-reward ratio involved in sending the rich ex an invite is probably more trouble than it's worth. Probably. On everything else, however, all of you are so comically wrong. I'm about to spend the rest of this post responding to questions I'm seeing crop up in the comments repeatedly. To that end, why do you hate the groomsmen? Why are you uninviting the groomsmen? When I said that uninviting everyone I hate would take out half the groomsmen, that was a technique called exaggeration. I and many other people use when arguing. I certainly don't like several of his friends, but he's well aware of that fact already, and we're perfectly capable of interacting politely when needed. This isn't a legitimate grievance, they're just loud and don't really get me. The rest of his side of the aisle is lovely. Do you even like him? Why do you talk about your fiancé like that? I would never insult my partner in public. I wanted to mention this one specifically because I was completely baffled about it for so long. To me, the complete opposite is true. I would sooner film an adult tape, show it on the jumbo screen of a sports arena, and provide director's commentary throughout, than admit to loving my partner in public for anyone to hear. It would be much less revealing. Anything heartfelt I have to say about him, I am going to say to him behind a closed door with no one else around. The only exceptions are the time I had an appendectomy, which involved many drugs and shouldn't count, our vows, and if he dies in public. You are toxic. Both of you are toxic. You shouldn't be getting married at all. Oh, damn, you're right. Let me just call this whole committed relationship off real quick. Obviously, you know everything about me and my partner from reading a few words online. I don't respect you, and I'm going to find a way to marry him even harder, specifically to piss you off. Why are you making a seating chart before you have your RSVPs back? You're the only one asking the right questions on here. Congratulations. The venue has several rooms we can pick from, arranged very differently, and I needed to get an idea of what each setup would look like at maximum capacity to choose between them. I'll admit, making a full chart was going a little overboard, but spending an afternoon methodically calculating who should sit with whom is surprisingly effective for excising the jitters. Also, it was an excellent bonding moment with my mother, who is a fellow hater at heart and had insane amounts of intel on the extended family's beef. I think she was more choked up watching me put labels on my magnet board over FaceTime than she will be seeing me in my suit, frankly. Stop doing mind games on your partner. Don't manipulate your fiancé. What the hell is wrong with you? Quit it. No, it's very effective foreplay. Also, he is genuinely quite bad at event planning. I'm not about to let him blunder into a subpar special day when I could just do it correctly and give him the perfect wedding instead. Duh. To that point, no one asked specifically, but I think it would help assuage some worries to reiterate that AS stated in the post, I am not pulling any strings when it comes to his actual stated wants. This is only about the minutiae of planning for a very large event. He wants all his younger siblings to play a role? Absolutely, I will find jobs for all 7 of them to do, including the kindergartner who curses at me. His best friend moved abroad and can't afford travel fare? She can now because I'm chipping in to get her here as a surprise. He really wants Thinking Out Loud by Ed fucking Sheeran on the playlist since it was on the car radio when he realized he loved me? I wish to God I were a crueler man because that tacky garbage will be our first dance song. So my basic puss of a betrothed can get all weepy about it. He thinks orange and pink works fine for a color scheme? Objectively deranged, someone needs to save him from himself. To conclude, I have accepted that I shouldn't invite the ex. I will be taking no further criticism at this time. And now that that's all settled, I'm going to leave this be and go talk over my fiance's TV shows. He hates it so much, top comments. Somebody said so it is incredibly funny to me to see on here. Nice work. Also, I only saw the first part of this, so thank you. Also, he'd sooner air a adult tape than talk about my love for my partner in public? Relatable content. I have established that my intensely private feelings about love are unusual, but clearly I'm not alone. It's actually one of the many things I do not want about weddings. I am not talking about my love for my partner in front of an audience, just absolutely not. Another commenter, Lel Mao, this was so entertaining. Thanks for putting it together. As someone who has been in a relationship kind of close to this, mutual annoyance as a form of affection, constantly fighting as foreplay, this reads as so genuine and cute. Also, as another commenter said, I'd rather die than tell someone I love them in public. Adult tapes, orgies, hell yeah, all on the table saying vows in front of everyone we've ever met? Nah, that crap is private. I know some people like it to be shown off how in love you are with them, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just not my thing.